has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
He fucking... How about that? I was just reaching over there, Carver High, to pick up Thomas's ball that went into the ocean. Number 10.
I like how they're showing a ball out on the right side of the fairway like it's his.
That's not his ball.
I don't think it's his ball either.
He laced that thing right into the water, man. That hit some guy fishing.
Not a good scene there from it all. Your boy, Sepp Straka, just continuing. Marty, don't call me Sepp Straka. Did he drain this for 14? He did. 14 under now for Straka. Unbelievable. Can he hold it all weekend long?
You're telling me that it's going to rain there this weekend? And by the way,
tonight.
When my aunt ran the place for my whole life, she used to let me stay there at that lodge. Oh, my God. That place is 6-star. Forget about 5. I mean, it is the most unbelievable, elegant, ritzy, snobby place you ever been in your life. Like, honestly, like, it's so nice that you're, like, nervous being there, that you're not good enough. You know what I mean? I'm not worthy of being in this place. That's how nice it is. It's like, I mean, it's top shelf.
Yeah, it's supposed to start raining by the end of this round, and they're saying rain, on and off, a lot of rain tomorrow, and then clears up a little bit on Sunday for the final round. But I would bet they don't get it all in tomorrow with the amount of rain that they're talking about. And Stewie was saying the other day, Stewie said it hadn't rained there in like 3 months up there in Pebble. So it's been very dry there. And they're finally going to get some weather, of course, the weekend that the golf's there. That's for sure. All right, let's finish up the NBA. Of course, the Suns are trying to do whatever they can to tinker with their roster. They are now targeting Bogdanovich. We got a lot of Bogdanoviches around the league. Bogdan from the Hawks, of course, shoots a lot of threes, can make them as well. So nice sharpshooter potentially. That they can get. So they're in the mix for him. They're trying to unload Nurkic. They're done with him. They want to get Nurkic out of Phoenix as fast as possible. But
the thing is, like, it's funny to me that you're going to sit here and try to, calm everybody down by getting Bogdanovich, the white boy chucker. Meanwhile, the entire, last 2.5, 3 weeks, they've been trying to get Butler, and they haven't been able to pull it off. They can't get the particulars interested in giving them Butler. All these other teams are like, yeah, we're not helping with that. Thank you. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. This is exactly what Butler deserves. He's not getting his way. It's not working out. The trades aren't coming to fruition. We've waited and waited, and here we are. And now you've gone from talking about Jimmy Butler to Bogdanovich. I mean, you talk about car wrecks. I mean, this is like, you might as well just keep Nurkic. At least he's a big. I mean, Bogdanovich is a mess. I mean, if he's cold, man, he's like iced tea, honestly.
Very hit or miss when he's out there shooting threes. Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons gets a 1-game suspension after that ejection the other night. And he'll miss tonight was his bobblehead night.
So what? You know what? It's probably worth it. It's probably worth it punching people that you don't like to sit out 1 game. And then it's his bobblehead night. It doesn't mean he can't be there. He can be there and watch everybody be happy with his bobblehead.
I don't think so. I think you're not allowed to be in the building, I don't believe, when you're suspended. Maybe he can sit upstairs. I'm not sure how that works.
Maybe I know to Justin Tucker's masseuse.
I wouldn't be taking any recommendations from Tucker for that right now. Nashville wants to get into the WNBA game. They have an investor group that features Candace Parker, Peyton Manning. I mean, what isn't Peyton Manning doing?
I'm
Tim
surprised
McGraw
Eli's
and
not
Vince
on board.
Hill. The team would be named the Tennessee Summit in honor, of course, of legendary Tennessee volunteer coach Pat Summitt. Do you like that? The Tennessee Summit for your girl, Pat.
As you know, I'm a big fan and friend of Pat Summitt's. I worked with her. She's an incredible woman, gone too soon, for sure. And I thought the world of Pat Summitt. So when I saw that they were going to have a team and name it after her, I got to tell you, it made me really happy. I always loved Pat Summitt. What a winner she was, and what an intense woman. I mean, I just thought the world of her. She was so nice to me and so cool for no reason whatsoever. And I actually really was fond of her. And so anything to do with Pat Summitt, I am all for. She was one of a kind.
No doubt about that. And Dwayne Wade had part of his kidney removed.
Whoa.
Due to a cancerous tumor.
Isn't that what they said they wanted to do with our livers, Carver High? Same thing, take a chunk.
Take a chunk. Can't have it. Cannot have it here. Who's hitting the ball off the side of the mountain over here?
I don't know, but I wish he would have fallen in.
That's Thomas. Thomas found his ball, I guess, over there on the side of that mountain.
It was him on the side of a mountain. He didn't go into the drink. He's on the side of the
mountain. Couldn't get into the drink.
But he shanked that one, too.
Oh, man. He didn't hurt himself there. You see how he came out of that?
I think he's going to have part of his kidney removed tomorrow morning.
That was not ideal for Justin Thomas on the side of that hill on 10 as he came out of that rough.
How did that ball not go in the ocean? Explain that to me.
I don't know.
There was some guy down there with a fishing net that caught it and put it down for him for $100.
Doesn't make much sense. All right, we have games tonight. 7 games, in fact, in the NBA. Let's start them, and we'll finish them after the break. The Clippers, East Coast trip, has them in Charlotte this evening. Clips minus 13.5. 208.5 the total.
God, I got to be honest with you. I think the Clippers are going to do it. I think they're going to do it. I mean, did we not just see without LaMelo Ball, they lost to the Nets 104-83. The Nets are ass mustard, and they destroyed them. The Nets can't beat anyone. What do you think the Clippers and Harden and Zubats and Powell are going to do to the Hornets tonight with no LaMelo Ball? They're going to do the same thing, only worse. And they won last night big and covered for me. I'm going to go for it.
The Mavericks are in Detroit. As we mentioned, it's Isaiah Stewart bobblehead night. Mavs minus 1.5 on the road, 228.5 the total.
I'm not surprised he's got a bobblehead the way he punches people in the face and makes their heads bobble. But I think Dallas will beat them tonight. I really do. They won for me last night and covered. Dallas is flat out better than Detroit. At some level, you got no Stewart. Cunningham's going to have to do it alone. I guess it's feasible, but I'll take Dallas again.
We'll come back. I've got 5 more games for you, including the TV doubleheader. And we have Giannis against Wembanyama tonight down in the Riverwalk. So I'll give you all the numbers for the other 5 games.
So we can watch KD, the Slim Reaper, tonight against Curry, back in his old stomping grounds where he got his only rings that he'll ever get. You mean that game?
Yes, that is the second game of the TV doubleheader tonight.
The nightcap.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
One of the weirdest nicknames I've heard in fighting. There's people have some strange nicknames at times, but the Lemon Killer. What do you even make of that? What is that about?
I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna squeeze him like a lemon on the day we fight, and he's gonna pop.
Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get rid of all the badness, if you will, over the past few decades for the Raiders and set yourself up for the future. It's a horrible job to take if you expect to win, but it's not a bad paying gig, so go ahead and take it.
With an owner in Mark Davis who has continued to make bad decision after bad decision. Does Pete Carroll leave a culture behind that Joe Brady in 2 to 3 years takes over?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he is becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great TJ Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you too.
Ferrall, coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Under a tremendous strain on a pain-free Friday as we're dealing with the remainder of the NBA slate tonight and trying to get through the week and then the weekend so we can gear up for Super Bowl week, which starts in earnest on Monday, the 3rd. We'll be in New Orleans SportsGrid all week from the 3rd to the 7th, broadcasting live. Ferrall Coast to Coast and several SportsGrid shows will be there. And we hope you'll be there with us as well. It's all very exciting. The Chiefs and Eagles, just like 2 years ago, a repeat of the Super Bowl again in New Orleans at the Superdome. It's all evolving rapidly as we continue with the NBA rack for tonight.
Certainly do. Denver is in for Philadelphia against the Sixers. Sixers still running with basically Maxey and a skeleton crew. Denver minus 9.5 tonight, 233.5 the total. Sixers have won 4 in a row.
Yeah, so it really gets down to, can they cover 9? I don't think they're beating Denver. I think their 4 in a row ends tonight, but the question is, they're hot all of a sudden. Can they cover 9? I say no. I say Denver beats them tonight by 10 or more. I do. I think... Denver lost to the Knicks. They've had enough, and they're not playing the Knicks. They're playing the Sixers. I think if they get, let's face facts. They've had Murray, Porter, and Gordon playing with the Joker and Brown. Bottom line is they should beat the Sixers.
They should. The Bulls are in Toronto against the Raptors tonight. Toronto's looking for 6 in a row, and they are 4.5-point favorites here, 232.5 the total.
I got to tell you, I want to take them because they're hot. I really do. I got to stick with them because they're rolling. And the Bulls are coming off getting, pasted by the Celtics by 22. They stink. It is amazing to me that they have Levine and Vooch and Zoe, and they still lose. They just lose left and right. Toronto's a great team to cover. They bet, on them every night, and they cover. Fans are betting on them, and they're covering, so I'll stick with them.
The Celtics are in New Orleans against the Pelicans this evening. Celtics minus 11.5 on the road, 232.5 the total.
I think they roll the Pelicans at the smoothie. I mean, they spanked the Bulls. This Pelican team, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They're 12-36. They suck. I don't care where the game is. It's down there. The Celtics shouldn't even have to try and win this game by 20. They should win this game by 20 at the very least.
You would think so. The Bucks are in San Antonio against the Spurs. So good Giannis versus Wemby matchup this evening. Bucks minus 2.5 on the road, 235.5 the big total.
I watch the Bucks and I'm like, you buy into them and then they lose to the Clippers, then they beat the Jazz, then they lose to the Blazers at the Moda. So they're due to win again. I like them tonight over the Spurs and Wemby in San Antonio. I think the Bucks are better, flat out, all around, deeper.
And finally, as you mentioned before the break, the Slim Reaper back in Golden State tonight. Suns and the Warriors, second half of the TV doubleheader. First game, by the way, is that Nuggets-Sixer game. A minus 1.5 for the Suns tonight, 228.5 the total.
I mean, they've been winning all of a sudden. They were terrible, and then they started winning. They rattled off 8 of 10. I'm going to take the Slim Reaper and D-Book tonight in San Francisco at the Chase over Curry and whatever else they throw out there. I'll take the Suns tonight. It won't be easy, but I think they can beat them.
Wow, how about that? So there you go. That's your night in the NBA. A bunch of games for you. I do like to tell you on Fridays as well. Lakers-Knicks at the Garden tomorrow night.
Whoa.
That's a national television game on AB. That's the ABC 8:30 game. Lakers-Knicks, that's a hell of a game that you're going to have. Heat-Spurs, Suns-Blazers, Sunday, Grizzlies-Bucks at night. So once you get in there, you can find yourself somewhere to watch Grizzlies and Bucks Sunday night down there in New Orleans. That's on ESPN Sunday night. So you have those things.
That sounds awesome
to look forward to this weekend. Justin Thomas did make par on that hole we watched him hit 2 awful shots on. He somehow made par on that hole.
No way.
Yes,
no
he
way.
Made par.
Okay,
I don't know
seeing
how
the shot.
either.
I'm seeing the approach because the approach was easy. It was about $150 out, and he flew it, and he landed it 20 feet away, and then he went up there and must have drained it.
There you go.
Here's the putt.
Right,
I got it. Here's the putt. I got to see it. There it is. It's in the hole. A beauty. I got to tell you. That is a hell of a up and down from $150 out with a wedge.
That's
a little
certainly
56
is.
floppy.
I mean, the way that second shot was ridiculous.
You and
the
I
way
would
he
have
fell
had
down
an 8
off the
on
mountain.
that hole.
Yeah, the third shot was the money right there. The third shot that he stuck on the flag is what got it for him for sure. All right, we'll come back and we'll start to get into some Super Bowl things for you, as I do have some early props. I got Andy Reid as well. We'll start with him after the break because he's talking about something. I got to tell you, that one thing down there, the food's great. You know, make sure you get some fried gator. Make sure you get some of those roasted clams. Get everything. You got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
You got a lot of food down there.
The jambalaya, the spicy jambalaya.
Yeah, got to be involved.
Oh, my God.
And you know that Andy's going to be involved. Andy Reid being down there. So
he loves eating. I mean, honestly, he's going to gain 15 pounds.
So
That's
we'll
automatic.
hear from him and do some other numbers involving the game. And I've got some other stuff, Straggler. I've got some more coaching news for you. Teams are starting to hire some offensive coordinators, including the Jets, as the Lions basically have now lost like their entire staff. I don't know if anybody's going to coach besides Dan Campbell.
Don't you have Troy Aikman talking about gambling?
Yes. How about Troy? It's been a good couple of weeks for him, honestly, between giving them the business on the TV with the refs. Now he's talking about making sure that people get their money. Troy's having
We're going to get rid of all the badness, if you will, over the past few decades for the Raiders and set yourself up for the future. It's a horrible job to take if you expect to win, but it's not a bad paying gig, so go ahead and take it.
With an owner in Mark Davis who has continued to make bad decision after bad decision. Does Pete Carroll leave a culture behind that Joe Brady in 2 to 3 years takes over?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he is becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great TJ Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Wow, there are certain things that you can count on, and one of them is Andy Reid when it comes to food.
Yeah,
I love this guy because I love eating.
They've been in the Super Bowl so much now. They're there every year. So every year, wherever they go, you got to ask Andy about the cuisine. And now they're going to be in New Orleans this year. And Andy seems to be ready to go for this trip in terms of the food at night.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, there is one. Emeralds. Not that I turned any of them down, but when I was with the Eagles, the chef there, the head chef, tremendous chef, he was a huge Eagles fan. So he invited me over, and he said, I'm going to start at the ocean and finish in the mountains. He put me in the kitchen, and he said, have at it. So he says, I'll stop when you're full. So 4 hours later, we were done.
You know he's going to poison the food this weekend?
I probably won't go there.
You got to give him credit right there. That was...
He's 4
you
hours
can't go there.
later.
He's an Eagles fan. The guy will poison him.
Guy said he said he went big Eagle fan, the head chef at the place.
Can't go there.
Can't have it. Not at all. Here's Patrick Mahomes, of course. He's one of these guys. He didn't enjoy winning last year. When they won last year, it was immediately focused on winning again next year. Very serious, Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know if it was just this one in particular. It's just when you're on that stage and you're celebrating, you start thinking about the guys that are coming back. You think about how young that football team was last year, and you knew that we had a chance to be in this position. And
serious.
Even though you're winning, you're enjoying that moment. You enjoy it, but at the same time, you have a bigger picture of your entire career. And I want to have as many chances as I can to be in the Super Bowl. And it's cool to have guys like Chris and Trav that I've kind of spent my entire career with and won all these games with. And there's a few others with James, Winchester, and Harrison. And I'm probably forgetting someone here or there, but it's cool to have these guys. We built such a great friendship and almost become a family. And I think that's really cool.
God.
Yeah, I'll
tell you
sick
this.
and tired of this.
I've thought about this
you have
a
no
lot.
idea.
I'll make a trade. If I'll root for them to win if you could promise me they won't be back again, like ever. Like if Mahomes wins this year and they're not in the Super Bowl anymore, like for the next 5, 10 years, whenever Mahomes there.
But how do you make that bet? Because you can't.
I know. I would, but if you could tell me they're not going to be there again, let them win. I would say let them win. I don't want them there anymore. Just please end it. I can't do it every year. anymore with this guy.
What's incredible? Like, they win 2 straight, going for 3. No one's ever done it. They do it, and then what? Go for 4 in a row? Like, who's to say they can't do that? I'm
sure they will.
Let's just face facts. None of these teams, including the Bills and Ravens, can beat them. They just don't beat them. That's it. Like, the Bills beat the Ravens. The Ravens lost to the Chiefs. The Bills lose to the Chiefs. The Bills always lose to the Chiefs. I hate to say it, but I've had enough of watching the Bills lose to the Chiefs, to be honest with you. And I rooted for the Bills on my horse. I was riding that Bills horse all the way. And they blew it again. And they had it. And I'm sick and tired of it. So I wish it was 2 different teams entirely in the AFC title game. And I wish it was 2 different teams entirely in the Super Bowl. Anything but. But I've already said that this year. I said, anything but the Eagles and Chiefs. And sure enough, it's Eagles and Chiefs. So I'm more interested really in the restaurants that I choose from Sunday to Friday. It's really more important. At the end of the day, I love eating. And I am a slob. And I can eat, and I can drink. And I mean to tell you, I can go toe-to-toe with anybody. And I have no interest in this football game. So to me, let's party. Where are we eating? That's all that matters every day. Doing great shows for SportsGrid, coast to coast. Oysters. And where am I eating?
Fried oysters, baby. That's where it's at. Got to have the fried oysters. All right. We get yourself in the mix with those, and the gator. Got to have the gator as well while you're down there. All right, I got some numbers for you when we come back. Most bet props so far, most bet touchdowns so far, and a few other things, and then we'll get into Troy and some other stuff as well. So we still have all that. I am going to the sports book. I am going to the Harrah's on the Water, the casino. I am going to good restaurant. That is all there is to it. And whatever other trouble I can.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, second half kickoff here, and your boy Marty Sepstraka with a 3-stroke lead over Don Henley and the Eagles at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So, and Condoleezza Rice out there with her 12 handicap, struggling to get around the course, but still hitting it clean.
Yeah, there's a few of the amateurs who only play with the pros on now on Thursday and Friday. Pau Gasol, I was telling you yesterday, he was playing a hell of a round, your boy Pau, and now Condoleezza Rice out there struggling her way through the course. All right, most bet player props so far. We have a whole nother week to go, but people are already going to the window with Dallas Goedert over 51.5, Xavier Worthy over 5.5 rushing yards. They're looking for a carry for Xavier Worthy. Barkley over 115.5. Mahomes' longest rush over 11.5, and Mahomes over 5.5 rushing attempts. The early player prop, most bet player props.
So Mahomes' longest, what was it? Rush over 11.5 yards. I think that'll happen. And over 5.5 rushing attempts. I think he'll run the ball 6 times. I've seen him in the Super Bowl run for his life against Tampa. I'd love to see that again. I've never seen him give Xavier Worthy the ball to run. So it'd be reverse. Do they do a reverse with him?
They did it. They did it twice in the Texan game and twice in the Bill game. So he had 2 carries in each game.
So
got the yardage in the Bill game, didn't get it in the Texan game.
So if he runs over 5.5 yards, you're golden if the play works. And then Goddard, I think Goddard's money, they're going to throw to Goddard a bunch of times in this football game. That's all there is to it. Yeah. So I think he can go over that number.
I agree on that one as well. As far as the touchdowns, Barkley, Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Goddard, most bet touchdowns so far. Saquon, the most bet first touchdown in the game at 4-1. And I'll bring this more up with you next week when I do my touchdown picks at the end of the week before the game. But the Chiefs have obviously been in a lot of Super Bowls. There's always one oddball Chief touchdown scorer in all these games. You look at all the last few years, there's someone way down the board who scores for Kansas City. So we are going to try to find that needle in a haystack next week when we do the touchdown picks. We will try to get our obscure Chief touchdown scorer.
Well, the guy that stands out to me the most is Hurts, because it's like automatic the guy scores a touchdown in almost every game they play. Like, it's just automatic. I mean, that number at minus 105 right now, like, didn't Gabe talk about it? He said he thinks it'll go up to 140 by the time, Saturday rolls around and then the game day Sunday. So I would bet that right now. And, with that defense of theirs, I'm not guaranteeing anything with Saquon Barkley. I know everyone thinks he's going to rush for 250 yards. I'm not buying that. I mean, that's why it had numbers at 115 or whatever. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be, tough sledding, as they say, against Kansas City. If you don't think Spagnuolo and Andy Reid have something, dialed up to stop this guy, it's real simple. If you want to beat them, shut him down, and you're 75% shot to win the game. Shut him down, take away their running game, and I think they're very beatable. But if he can run the ball, and if he runs the ball, then their passing game opens up like a sieve. And I think if he just had to pass, I think Kansas City would give Hurts problems. Fair enough?
Fair enough indeed. Purple has been climbing the board for the Gatorade color. That's because the Chiefs have dumped the purple Gatorade on Andy Reid each of the last 2 years, plus 225 for Gatorade.
It's got to go right back to that gold. Kansas City's yellow.
You go back
gold.
to the gold.
You got to go back to the gold. So that would be what? Is I think that's orange. I think it's orange. I don't have gold, and then lemon lime is not yellow. The orange looks like their color.
orange be where it's at. So, and the Eagles use the lime on Sirianni for the NFC title game.
The
so
lemon lime.
Lemon lime's been getting some gas as well.
I had a couple of those today,
Gatorade.
as a matter of fact, already.
There you go. So no change
I
from
got
yesterday.
one going right now on ice. I got a lemon lime rocking right now.
Willie's got it going too. He's got the orange, actually, Willie.
Oh, I love the orange and the grape and the lemon lime. You know, the red I don't like. The red, the red fruit punch, it leaves your tongue red. It's a problem. They got to get somebody to develop it where I don't end up with a red tongue. Can we work on that?
1.5 and 48.5 as we hit the weekend for next week. So no change there. The AFC and NFC have both won exactly 29 Super Bowls heading into Super Bowl 59. Split down the middle. Somebody gets number 30.
Kansas City never loses.
Kansas City never loses. Remember that. They never lose. You mentioned Troy Aikman before. Of course, he took a lot of heat for how he called out the refs during that Chief-Texan game a couple of weeks ago, divisional round on Saturday.
He was right.
He was right, and he's right about this too. He says the NFL owes it to the fans who gamble to make sure that the refs get the calls right. We love Troy now. He's even sticking up for us. He wants to make sure all the slips go in properly, and nobody gets screwed at the end of the day. Good for Troy.
Well, I mean, let's get real for a second here. The NFL is partners with all kinds of sports books and betting partners, and then their refs can't get their head out of their ass. I mean, let's face facts. They're awful. The games are called, in my opinion, horribly. I mean, they really are. It gets worse by the game. And so I am not going to sit here and buy into this. We have the greatest refs in the world, bullshack. I'm not buying it. I agree with him. They got to get it right for the bettors. But they don't. They don't get it right for the bettors. Watching them screw the Bills on that veered off ref spot on that fourth down, that's not getting it right. Not only that, they went to review it and they still screwed them. That's called shafting and stiffing them 6 ways till Sunday. So what they do is they screw it up and then they don't fix it. That's exactly who they are. And they don't care about bettors. What they care about is that they make all that money off the betting companies. That's what they care about, that they're getting that revenue, the millions that they make off the betting partners, but they don't care about you betting. In fact, they think all of you have betting problems, and they want nothing to do with you.
That is precisely right. There's a lot of entanglement there. There's a lot of partnerships.
They're phony.
And it needs to.
They're phonies, the NFL.
Indeed.
With
I
their
don't
gambling
disagree.
policies.
With all of that. That's for sure. All right. Next up, here we go. Actually, I will hold off on this because we're not going to have enough time to get this in. Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott shut down the Bills season yesterday. They needed a couple extra days before they did their end-of-season press conferences, so I have something for you there. And then I've got the other coaching news for you, and then we'll get into the college rack for later on. So we will do all of that. I know. There's a lot to get through. Listen, I mean, Bean talked for like over an hour yesterday. I mean, how much can you say? You lost again.
Nobody,
but they're going to keep.
Nobody wants to hear from this guy. Aren't you sick and tired of this guy? And they never win. I mean, they never win when it matters. So I don't want to hear from him. I don't care what he says. I'm sick and tired of Bean. And frankly, McDermott. But we'll get him next time. Let's get him next year. Come on. Yeah. Let's get back to the grind. We'll just work hard. Yay.
We're going to kick the door down. Eventually, we'll kick the door down.
Yeah, sure you will. It's never going to get as close as you've had it, bro.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I'm getting horrible reviews right now, Carver High, from the pediatrician's office that young Chop has been hit in the side of the head with the flu. And I'm no part of this chick. My daughter, she came home from school today, sicker than a dog. And I'm like, don't even look at me. Don't even come near me. I'm going to New Orleans. Don't even, go to your room. That's what I said. I just close the door. I just can't have it. Oh, God, now I got flu in the Ferrall. What is happening to me? Oh, no, the humanity.
Better stay away from her. Better stay as far away as you can over the next couple days.
I'm ready. I may go get a hotel.
Get away from
Honestly,
it. Or else you'll be patient zero down there. Start giving it to everybody else. Nobody needs that.
Oh, God.
That's for sure. Bean talked. We don't have to hear from Brandon Bean today on a Friday to upset everybody. The Saints are expected to make Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore their next coach after the Super Bowl. So they've basically told all the other candidates, we're still talking to him, which means he's getting the job, is what they told everybody else. So Kellen Moore is going to be a head coach after the Eagles get done.
Yeah,
Not bad.
good luck down there. Good luck down there.
4 stops in 4 years for him. Dallas, L.A., Philly, New Orleans. 4 stops in 4 years.
Well, at least he's a head coach now. But good luck. I mean, that franchise, to tell you, do you remember, so they won their first 2 games. They put up 80 points, and we were all excited about them. And then we never talked to anybody ever again about them the rest of the season. They went in the tank.
Didn't go very well for them as the season continued to progress on. The Jets are going to hire Lions passing game coordinator Tanner Engstrand to be the offensive coordinator. Who? For the Jets. They also hire Chris Banjo, special teams coordinator, spent the last 2 seasons as the Broncos assistant special teams coach. So
that must be that new Mungie picking one of his boys off of his staff.
Muji, yes. Muji must have taken him from Denver.
Mungie.
Tanner Engstrand. The Bucks promoted everybody's got a passing game coordinator now. Bucks promote passing game coordinator Josh Grizzard.
The Gizzard.
To offensive. Your boy, the Grizzard, Josh Grizzard, will be the offensive coordinator.
These are
in
the
Tampa
worst
Bay.
hires I've ever seen. Here we go.
The Lions hire former Stanford coach David Shaw to be their passing game coordinator.
He's the guy that had the net on that Thomas shank that was on the side of the hill.
Yeah.
They caught it with a fishing net and put the ball in play. David Shaw.
And as Joey Prawns told me last night, it's unbelievable that he's the passing game coordinator considering he never passed the ball at Stanford. All he did was just run, punt, run, punt. So now David Shaw's going to be where did this passing game coordinator stuff come from? Everybody's got a passing game coordinator now. Honestly. I mean,
just
more
another
guys than we need on the
paycheck in the
staff.
NFL for somebody.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. The NFL says that they had 182 concussions this season, allegedly down 17% from 2023. Allegedly down 17%. How many concussions were not reported?
Yeah, I don't believe the NFL's numbers. I think they skew the numbers. I don't believe anything they say. How many lawsuits have they had to deal with over concussions? And they got away with that $800 million payoff. It should have been $8 billion the payoff for people with CTE and brain damage. I don't believe a word the NFL says about concussions. No way. They can't be trusted.
Yeah. They say that the Guardian caps worked. I mean, only like 5% of the guys wore them. Not like
only
everybody was running around. Might have been just 5 guys, but yeah, not a lot of guys wore the Guardian caps. There you go. All the NFL as we get ready for next week. How about some college rack now to get things going? I know we have a big Indiana game tonight. That we're going to get to as well eventually. Always love when Indiana and Purdue get together. Once again, your boy Marty Straka dropped a shot, so he's down to 13 under now.
Whoa!
As he gets, there you go. Last night, UCLA winner over Oregon, 78-52. Nebraska, the outright win over Illinois, 80-74 in overtime. How about Nebraska, the Cornhuskers? Memphis did cover against Tulane. I know that you had several other games that were on the docket, but like you said, it was a better night in NBA and NHL than it was in college rack. I got burned with the Anteaters late night. They just did not get the job done for me whatsoever.
I know you don't want me to go through the litany of failed college rack picks from last night because it was bad. I hit a few games, but I lost so many that it was embarrassing. But, to go 15-0 in the NBA and NHL, I can live with myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not good at all. At least UC San Diego late night.
We did hit that on the Big Island.
We did on the Big Island. We were able to get that through the pass. As far as tonight goes, limited slate. As I said to you before, Indiana and Purdue are going to get together. We might have to do these after. You got to have a little bit more time with Indiana and Purdue. Butler, Georgetown, Dayton, and St. Louis are the other games for this evening. But big spot for Indiana here as they head to West Lafayette to see the Boilermakers tonight.
I think they're going to get spanked at Mackey by Purdue. I think it's going to get real ugly. Indiana's awful. I like Marist over Siena. I like St. Louis over Dayton. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a stab with Akron in that 3.5 piece at Kent State. And, the other ones, it's just so dangerous. Some of these games are so awful. I'll tell you what, how about a Georgetown turnaround after getting spanked by St. John's? They beat Butler tonight in DC.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Is this the team this year under TJ Otzelberger that can get Iowa State to the promised land at a Final Four trip?
Auburn is trending towards being the #1 seed in the South. That means first and second round games in Lexington, and then Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games in Atlanta. I have a hard time believing that a team is going to be able to go to Atlanta and beat the Tigers.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Honestly, I'm watching this golf tournament. You have got to be kidding me. What is wrong with that lie off of that golf path that Rory McIlroy gets to have a better lie than where he was? There was nothing impeding it. There was no spout. There was no cover of, what's the deal? How does he get to move that ball and get a better lie? It's bullshit.
It doesn't make much sense to me. I'm watching it, and I don't know why. Only thing I can think of is there was something on the ground. Maybe there's a tree stump there or something. Who knows?
Let's go talk college football with my boy Rich Sermonello.
Hey, Scott, it's off-season in college football. Never too early to talk about the 2025 season. Thank you, FanDuel, for putting some early odds out for national championships. So let's get right to it. There's some early opportunities. Favorites, no surprise. Listen, college football is going to be chalky for the foreseeable future. In this era of NIL, transfer portal, the big boys are going to dominate. No different right now. Ohio State, the leader at plus 500, Texas, Oregon, plus 650, Georgia, plus 700. Those are the favorites. One interesting thing when you look at those four teams, Scott, is in all likelihood, you're going to have young underclassmen quarterbacks starting over. Ohio State has Julian Sayin, a five-star transfer from Alabama. Texas, obviously, the Arch Manning era ready to begin in Austin. Oregon looking to Dante Moore to replace Dylan Gabriel. And Georgia, we saw a little bit of Gunnar Stockton last year after Carson Beck got hurt. All young quarterbacks. I tend to like veteran quarterbacks. Saw that last year. Will Howard, Ohio State, wins a national championship. A lot of veteran quarterbacks dominating in the semifinals. So let's look for some early value in those odds. I'm going to take a step back one tier and talk about Penn State, plus 850, Drew Aller returning. That entire backfield is back. Katron Allen, Nick Singleton as well. Now, Penn State has a lot to prove, Scott. Not a huge James Franklin fan. Drew Aller struggled down the stretch. Some big mistakes in that ND game. But veteran coach, veteran quarterback, and then just a couple of days ago, huge addition at defensive coordinator, lost Tom Allen, actually upgraded, took Jim Knowles away from a competitor, Ohio State, one of the top defensive coordinators in the country. So Penn State is poised for a big run next season. Sense of urgency for James Franklin. So I like Penn State. Let's go a little bit deeper. A couple of other teams, a couple of blue bloods, LSU, Clemson plus 1,800, LSU plus 2,000. Tigers, in both cases, Clemson Tigers get back Cade Klubnik. Love their defense. Peter Wood should be healthy next year. For LSU, I love desperate teams. Brian Kelly is starting to feel desperate. 3 seasons of at least 3 losses in a row. He sees Notre Dame, the team that he left and said, I need to win a national championship, come within 1 game of a national championship. LSU's been very active in the portal. They've done a great job picking up 12 recruits so far. Garrett Nussmeier is back. So at plus 2,000, might want to get in early on LSU. Actually, you might want to hedge because LSU and Clemson play in the opening weekend. Maybe put a little money on both of those teams. So already talking national championship. Next week, Scott, we're going to turn over to Heisman odds for 2025, 2026.
There you go. Great job by Rich right there. And yes, he's right. There have been some Heisman odds start to go out. I've seen Arch Manning as the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to the Heisman odds so far. So yes, we just finished the college football season, but right around the corner, before you know it, it'll be August again. And we'll be getting ready for that first game in Dublin between Iowa State and Kansas State. It is right there for us, believe you me. Rory, they let him move that ball back so far that he was able to dig out of there. I've been trying to look up, Scotty, why they let him do that.
Well, of course they did. They got to make him happy.
We can't hear what they because they had the Dopey Rules guy on their Golf Channel's Rules guy, but we can't hear what they're saying. So I'm going to try to find out during the break what exactly was the reasoning behind him getting to move that ball a little bit further back. And look out, things are starting to tighten up here. Cam Davis to 12 under, Tony Finau to 11 under, Tom Kim, who I have, is at 10 under now. We would love to see Tom Kim win this weekend. That would be outstanding.
And then you've said the rain's coming and the conditions are changing, and it's going to be wet and colder for sure. So it's going to be a crazy weekend in Northern Cali.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jimmy Butler has spread his cancer all over the Heat, and he has ruined their season. I do believe they'll never recover from this disastrous guy that is, purged on him. I mean, he's ruined. Like, they don't matter anymore at all. Like, I watched them play last night. They suck.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.